Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News.
Nigeria's population growth has put pressure on the country's resources, public services and infrastructure. With children under 15 years of age accounting for 45% of the 180 million population, the burden on education has become overwhelming, resulting in UNICEF revealing that Nigeria has 10.5 million children out of school, the world's highest number. Joining us to discuss how improving Nigeria's educational system must be a joint effort of all is Femi Martins from the Bunmi Adedayo Foundation. Femi, welcome to the morning show.
Thank you.
I understand you were stuck in traffic and it took you a while to get here.
Well, Lagos seems to be on the standstill.
Yeah, when it rains.
Yes, when it rains.
Lagos shuts down.
Yes.
But tell us a little about Bunmi Adedayo Foundation. I know that it's named after the son of the chairman of Tasty Fried Chicken, right?
Yes.
He died 6 years ago. 2013 or 5 years ago.
2013, yeah, 5 years ago.
2013. So sorry about that.
Oh, thank you.
You guys have put this foundation together in his honor. So tell us a little about
the foundation.
Yes.
Well, when Bunmi passed on 2013, the family came together thinking of how to continue the legacies that Bunmi was known for while he was alive. Bunmi was very passionate about less privileged children. Very, very passionate. He was known to have championed a lot of causes around the less privileged, including the popular spelling bee competition, which he was very passionate about. So education being one of his core areas, we felt one of the best ways to immortalize him was to go into education. But then we had the challenge of where to start even in education. And then after a few back and forth research, doing some research here and there, we then came to pinpoint public primary education, which for us forms the foundation of all forms of education. So that was how the journey started. In 2016, we inaugurated the foundation, and it's been almost 3 years of a lot of work, but very impactful, because we see that we are filling in a huge gap in the education system, especially in Nigeria.
Can you define the nature of the work that you do?
That we do at the foundation. All right, basically the foundation was set up to improve learning outcome of primary education vis-a-vis two key pillars. One is the provision of infrastructure, and second is the enhancement of content. So we work to either augment what government has on ground in terms of infrastructure, building library facilities, ICT laboratories, and what have you, that will aid learning. And on the other hand, we train teachers, in-service teachers, to get better at what they do. Because again, the teachers are the gateway to the future for these children. If they do not have sound and the right information, they are unable to pass the right content on to the children. You may be aware that over 40% of teachers in the public service seem not to be qualified. That's a statement credited to TRC and Teachers Association Council of Nigeria. So we feel that there's a huge gap in this area, and we are working to fill that gap.
Well, can you break it down further?
Okay.
In terms of, we did this here, we did this there, and in terms of your concentration, is it nationwide coverage or just Lagos State? And if it's in Lagos State, this is what we have built so number of primary schools. Yeah. We've done this for that school. Okay. We've trained so number of teachers. Okay. I would like a breakdown.
Yeah, like the numbers. Okay, thank you. We have a vision that cuts across Nigeria, but we needed to have a start point. So Lagos State is a start point. So far, we have reached in 9 local governments. And what are the projects we've implemented? We have adopted 2 public primary schools. And in these 2 schools, we have renovated 24 classrooms. Of course, when we say renovation, total renovation.
Well, what schools are these?
Yaba Model Nursery and Primary School.
It was a public school?
Public primary schools. That's the focus, yes.
Okay.
We work only with public primary schools for now. So we have renovated 24 classrooms in 2 schools. We have set up a 40-seater ICT laboratory with all the modern-day equipment, including internet access, to ensure that the children get access to ICT education. We have also set up a library for 2 schools in Lagos State. We've also adopted 3 more schools. In 2017, we adopted 3 more schools in addition to the first 2 that we adopted. So these are the school-based projects. But then we have the teachers training project, which cuts across 18 primary schools in Lagos State. And that's where we get the geographical spread of 9 local government areas. So, but the nature of our project with the teachers training is a continuous repetitive exposure to learning. So we know that a one-off training will not kill it. You can't fix what has been in decay for a long time with just a one-time exposure to right content. So we're doing 6 times a year training for 250 teachers.
Okay, but how do you fund this program? How are you funded?
Okay, in terms of funding, I must admit at this point the great support that the Bunmi Adedayo family, vis-a-vis the Tasty Fried Chicken brand, has been to the foundation. Notwithstanding, we have enjoyed a lot of support from other private sector individuals, private sector organizations, and also individuals. So the bulk of our funding has come from the support from the family, individuals, and a few corporate organizations who have identified with the vision. I must also mention that the government has provided a form of partnership, because without them, we would not have been able to gain access to these schools in the first place. So they have been very supportive in opening their doors for partnership between the civil society, where we belong, and government.
Okay.
But I mean, when you are, before you chose those 2 schools, you must have looked around, you must have assessed. What was the criteria for choosing
the schools?
Yes, the schools you have worked with.
Okay, I must say that when we were going to set out, now in late 2015, that was when we did the assessment of schools. We went around a few schools in Lagos State. When we got to Festac, because Bunmi grew up in Festac, we noticed that the schools in Festac were quite in a very fair shape. And that shows to us that, okay, government is making some effort. We then went to about 16 schools in 2015. We looked at the state of the infrastructure. Okay, how deep a mess were the infrastructure? So we can then look at what we had as a budget and what was on ground to get sorted. So we went to about 16 schools. We looked at the existing infrastructure, the level of decay, and the level of work that will go into it.
Right.
Again, we looked at if we fix this school, what will be the community benefit? How well would this intervention impact on the community? So we ended up with Yaba model, which also has a striking feature. It was set up in the 50s by a crop of individuals also. So it was like a personal project that someone started in the 50s. It used to be the best school in the area. But fast forward to 2015, Yaba model was the worst school.
So it's no longer a model school?
It was the worst in the area. In fact, we had statements like it was the den of thieves, because we also visited the local police station, who then told us that whenever they're running after a criminal and the criminal moves into the school, you don't find them anymore. There have been issues of people being murdered and so on. So that was the state in which we met Yaba model. And fast forward to June, July 2016, after our intervention, the school became the best in Surulere. And fast forward to July 2017, the school emerged the best in Lagos State. So that goes to show the potential that some of these public schools have. I should also add that pupils in Yaba model, by virtue of one of our interventions in 2017, whereby we organized extra classes on the teachers' training, we have 3 pupils from this school currently enjoying.
But why is it important, I mean, for individuals, organizations, civil society, to take over the responsibility for, you know, reviving, if I may use that word, rehabilitating, reconstructing schools within the education system, when it should be the primary responsibility of government at different levels?
Well, to be candid, government has a lot of responsibility to shoulder, and that includes education. Education being a right of every citizen. And notwithstanding, government cannot effectively handle the education system alone. And because education has everyone as a stakeholder, including the private sector organizations, including the individuals, I think it's paramount for government to open their doors, which I think Lagos State is doing to an extent, for everybody to come in to do their bit. We cannot leave it in the hands of government. If we do that, education will rotten and go down the way we do not want it to go to. Go to other countries. There are policies in place that encourage individual and corporate partnership with government to run education. So why would our own story be different?
Thank you very much, Femi Martins, for coming to the morning show and for the views you've shared with us about your foundation, the Adedayo Foundation, and the education system in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Wish you continued success.
Thank you.
All right. It's time now for a short break. When we return, Aaron Akerejola will be filling us on what's trending. Stay with us.